Okay, guys, before we move on, I get to talk about gentle bands again. Now, if you're watching my show recently, you saw me bring up gentle bands. Well, I get to bring them up again. Check this out. I'm opening this one up just for you. Last time I got a pretty good looking ring with this one. This is the sports ring collection. It is the Athlos, and it's a tribute to the Olympics, and it celebrates the eternal spirit of sports that people have developed over the century. Gentle Bands chose Athlos as their collection name. It's a Greek word meaning a contest or a competition encompassing any kind of feat or challenge, and you can see it. Look at that. That is a thick ring, and that feels like the gods made it. Look at that. Feels solid. I like that a lot. Each ring design is inspired by legendary gods and titans of Greek mythology. In addition to the rings and the chains, they've also developed cufflinks for this collection. This ring is just awesome. It's made of tungsten. It's like thick. It is strong. You can get more information on each ring at the website itself. They came up with an alternative solution. You got this chain, really thick, wonderful chain actually. And if some people, when they're playing sports or they're at the gym, it becomes a little awkward. So they came up with this idea to put it on a chain. So check this out. Easy. Got yourself a necklace now. Put it up there. Done deal. I got my ring. I got it on a chain. And it really is. It's a really solid piece. So here's the beauty. You can get 25% off. You get a discount from me. But you got to put in KH channel. And here is the link. It is in the description. First thing you're going to see is Gentle Bands. Click on that link. You get 25% off. I mean, come on. It's the Olympics, baby. And this is the perfect time to do it. It's a really smart idea. And I love Gentle Bands. They have just done amazing work. This is my second ring with them. And I'm sure it's not going to be my last. So thanks to Gentle Bands. Check it out. And let me know what you think. Yup. We're talking Downey as Doom again. But this time it's the three of us. Can it work? We're going to talk about if this was a desperation move. Can it help? When will he show up? And why is it definitely the post-credit scene in Fantastic Four? We're going to talk about Superman. That wrapped up. Got some images from the Joker that we'll talk about. Deadpool and Wolverine breaking all the records, making all the money. And then there's other things. Fantastic Four. We'll talk about the Captain America stuff. We'll talk about some of the stuff in Hall H. And Coy was there. His boots were on the ground. So we'll see what stood out there from Comic-Con. So if you're brand new to the channel, you've never been here before, show a little class. Will you hit that button, subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you. And if you're already subscribed to this channel, then subscribe to the Clips channel. We're putting a lot of these stories that we cover here, plus interviews. I got a ton of interviews. Talking about the Umbrella Academy. We got some interviews coming over there. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So anyway, it's me and it's Winston, it's Coy. This is Capes and Cowls. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's Capes and Cowls. It's myself, Winston A. Marshall, Coy Jandreau. We're all back. All right. What's up, everybody? Coy, how was San Diego? How was sunny San Diego?
It was majestic.
Yeah.
I love San Diego Comic-Con, but there's been years that have been under the strike or just a limping back. I haven't missed a year. I was there at the collector's edition where it was like a smaller thing at Thanksgiving. I literally am always there. This was the year that felt like 2019 again. It felt like it was back to scale. The offsites were great. The panels were great. I had 4 panels. I'm exhausted. I haven't stopped because as soon as we got back, like now it's covering the things announced at said panels. And it was Deadpool and Wolverine weekend. So as you know, that's our biggest weekend of the year mixed with our other biggest weekend of the year. But I'm so nerd happy. I'm excited to talk about some of the things we haven't talked about yet because I haven't really had a place to vent my concerns. But yeah, I'm curious how people like things.
Winston, did you think about going to San Diego at one point and driving out there? You're like, nah, I can just cover everything from here.
It was mixed. There was a part of me that thought about like going out there and doing that, but I wasn't quite prepared just because of like some personal stuff going on one way or the other.
Sure. And
B, because a lot of the stuff still was breaking that anybody could really be talking about it as is. Like, I at that point didn't seem to make sense. Like if I plan for it, like there's what LA Comic-Con is coming up soon. Like I'll be there. I actually looks like I might have a panel there, which would be pretty cool. But I'm
gonna be there too.
Oh, nice.
No, really? You come back up? Oh, yeah. I'll be at New York Comic-Con. I don't know if you'll be there, but I'll be there.
I'll be there for that. I won't be there for LA. But that's good. So you're gonna be doing that, Winston. You'll be over there, and there was, I mean, honestly, the news itself from Comic-Con really didn't pop until that last announcement, to be honest. I mean, I thought that the stuff that they did, and as I've talked about it, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, more so, is I thought the way that Marvel presented their panel was the way that they should have presented it. I think that they were promoting their 3 movies. They shouldn't, and Coy, you say this all the time, they shouldn't be announcing 7,000 different things right now. The stuff that they announced, they should announce Avengers because that is, pun intended, the end game for this thing. And they should say, okay, look, these are the 3 movies that we've shot. We're not mentioning Blade. Didn't even mention Blade, I don't think. When we are going to tell you that we have these movies, and I know it's been rumored that we have the Russos. Well, guess what? The Russos are back. And well, what about Kang? Well, we're not going to necessarily mention Kang, but we're going to tell you we have a new villain, and it's Doom. Yay! And now we're going to show you who it is Doom. Now, you can say whatever you want about who it is, but the announcement definitely got people talking. I happen to think it played better in the room than it did on the internet.
Probably.
But we'll start with you, Winston. Let's talk about the idea here that this is Dr. Doom is back. Or not back. Stark is back. Tony's back. Not really. Downey's back. Is he Stark? Who knows? Does it sound confusing with the way I'm saying it? Yeah, because it's confusing. What the hell is it? Is he a variant? Is he not variant? People say no, he's not a variant. But he's Tony Stark, not. But he's Victor Doom. We think of what place, where, but he's back. And what do you think, Winston? Was this the right move to bring Downey back? You guys talked about it last week, even though people called it clickbait. Well, it wasn't clickbait. It was actual. And here we are.
I mean, look, I would love for people to go back and rewatch that because Coy and I broke that down. Y'all want to try and comment. You don't think that Coy and I know what we talking about?
And we even, knowing it was a rumor, gave it that. We didn't say like this is happening, but we said if it happened, and we made it very clear. So everybody left a comment. We read them, and
you're wrong. Come back. I want that person. There's one particular person.
You got to run with clickbait now? You got to run with clickbait?
It's like that person better come back and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Of course they're not going to.
No, of course not.
In what world do people apologize for being assholes?
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. But I say all that to say, I genuinely, like, I covered a little bit of this on my own show, Blurred Breakdown. Y'all can check that out, too, with my San Diego Comic-Con debrief. That essentially what has already been kind of talked about, sort of, about how they're going to go about this. This isn't necessarily a Tony variant. That he is Victor Von Doom. It just might so happen that he just looks similar. Like, and the way that people have been bringing it up is bringing up like Gemma Chan already as Minerva, but then also Cersei. And so it's a situation where it's the same actress, and yes, there's some blue makeup covering it, but the same thing could be said about Downey and the fact that most of the time Doom is going to be covered in a mask anyway. So if you have some sort of reveal ultimately that it's like, oh, dude, you look a lot like Tony Stark.
Right.
Like, you could get away with that if you do go the variant route as well, that maybe they end up being like, oh, tech guy, we need somebody to whatever. Oh, you're actually evil. Like, there's ways to do it that you're not besmirching the actual character in which died. Yes, you're using the same actor. And if you're going to say that that's confusing, well, then, I mean, we've been doing a multiversal thing the whole time. But for those, I won't spoil it, but for those that just saw Deadpool and Wolverine, I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. But Coy, let me ask you this, because this is something that I was curious how they're going to. First of all, I think they're going to introduce him in a post-credit scene, and it's the whole reason they start filming on Tuesday. They just started filming on Tuesday. They announce him, so they'll film a scene with him. He'll be in the post-credit scene. That's how they're going to introduce him. That's my thought. Now, the thing that I think you could do with him, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that if you put Victor Von Doom in this version, or this Earth, if you will, from whatever Earth it is, I don't know where Earth they're on, but in the 60s, this particular place, he can live there as this variant of Dr. Doom. As Victor Von Doom, he just happens to look like the Tony Stark that we know. But in their world, to the Pedro Pascal and to the rest, Vanessa Kirby and all them, to them, they don't know who Tony Stark is. They don't know what he looks like. To them, when they see that face, they see Victor Von Doom, because in the 60s, that's who that person is. And when they transfer over, maybe they can, when he comes over and they transfer over into the universe that we know, that people go, oh my God, that's Tony Stark. And they're like, well, no, that's Victor Von Doom. What the hell are you talking about? And is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what they're gonna try to do. It's really tricky because I do love the Russo brothers. I obviously love Downey Jr. and Marcus and McFeely are genius writers, but there is a difference between comic books and movies, and plausible deniability is different with a drawing versus seeing an actor that you have all these associations with.
Right, yeah.
So they can tell me that's Doom all they want, but I do worry that there is that show that Downey's on right now where he wears all those prosthetics and he looks like different people. Sure. There is precedent, like, you know, you just mentioned with Gemma Chan, and there is precedent in WandaVision, but all of these precedents aren't two leads. The lead of the Marvel Cinematic Universe arguably was either Downey or Chris Evans, and the leading villain this next phase is clearly going to be Doctor Doom.
Right.
So it's a very different story than having someone from, let's say Quicksilver from the Fox universe that turns out to be Ralph Boner. Those are two different characters from two different universes. This is MCU v MCU. This is lead v lead. This is, do you pay $90 million plus to put prosthetics on Downey Jr.? Do you keep unmasking Doom, a character that's known for wearing a mask all the time? Do you waste the integrity of Doom to have something to get butts in seats? I'm just worried from a storytelling standpoint how much I love Doctor Doom that the show business side of comic book movie, the business side, will win out. I love that Downey Jr. gets a chance to play a villain. I love that he loves playing complicated characters. I just don't want that to be at the cost of Doom. I look forward to being proven wrong.
No, well said. And I think that here's the issue that I think they're all going to have, and that's the fact is, how do you make sure that there is no way you associate him with Tony Stark? And I'll tell you right now, when he takes that mask off and put his sunglasses on, not a good first step.
No, it's not. And I, you know, what's interesting is that the only other way I could see doing it, but maybe you don't announce this until you get to a certain point, is if you want to go the route of what we lost Scarlet and we lost Chris, if you want to try and convince them to also play some sort of iconic villain type situation, and maybe that's the line you're drawing of like, oh, in this other universe, they weren't the Avengers, they were Doctor Doom, they were not Red Skull, because we've already had Red Skull. I'm trying to think if there's another major like Captain America villain or somebody that we're missing, and then like even having if Scarlet ultimately plays like Lady Death or something, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just such a then it becomes like everyone in the universe is their evil side, and all of a sudden you've got Spock with a mustache.
Yes, yeah. And not only that, they're already going to probably be making a $400 million movie.
Trying to pay everybody else.
He's trying to do that. I mean, because they're already going to have to pay a lot of these people anyway. The Russos are getting an insane amount of money. Downey's going to be making an insane amount of money. They haven't even, I don't even think they know the remainder of the people that are bringing in. If you look at the rumors of all the people that they're going to be bringing in general, you know, it's like this movie is going to be the most expensive thing ever. What I will say is it's got the buzz on it because there's not even the people, and I don't know where I am. I'm on the fence with it, right? I want to see Downey attempt it because I think he's that good. That if there is somebody that could make you say, look, he's nothing like Tony Stark, and he made me eat my own words. That's the guy that can do it, right? But what I want to see is if they're able to pull that off, right? Can they actually pull that off with Downey playing? I don't know. I think that I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with it.
I have one thing that was going through my mind that I just didn't like about the announcement. I think it was the very specific verbiage of there's only one guy that can do this.
Right.
Which
Daniel Day-Lewis?
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
So so it's one of those situations where it's like, I get that that's just hyperbole you're using in a speech and as you're trying to hype up. But that's the only part that to me I thought was incorrect. There are plenty of people that we have talked about, that people around the internet and around the world have talked about, of who could potentially be Doom. And so I think the only thing that gives me a little more faith in that regard, since that particular line messed me up, they very clearly have an idea of what they are trying to do and accomplish, and a story that they specifically want to tell. If that is your verbiage, if your verbiage specifically is there is only one man that could play this role, you have a very specific story in mind, and at least that makes me know they have a plan, and that makes me feel a lot better than the idea of just like, well, we weren't sure, so let's just grab Robert.
They also stressed in the world of the multi-universe, they said that anything is possible, and they seem to be stressing that they wanted it to be someone we've seen before. So that could be the element of he's the only one, because they want to show that all things are possible in the multiverse. My big concern is, and you know, I hadn't even put this together, Kristian, so you just said it. I loved the moment where when he took his mask off, there was this coldness to his face where he looked, you know, he's older and he's lived post Oppenheimer. Like, Downey is a different man. You know, we're all different every 5 years. But then he put the glasses on, and I hadn't even put together that was the cue that threw me, because the 10 seconds before I was like, man, I look forward to seeing Downey's take. But even if we'd say somehow 20 years ago, I know he was one of the people in the running to play Doom in the Fantastic Four. Even then, I would be curious, because I love Downey and I always have, but I wouldn't have had him on my short list. So I'm curious because I like Downey, but I would never say Downey is Doom. So I, again, look forward to be proven wrong, but the sunglasses and the bravado, Doom should be so terrifying. Doom would never wear sunglasses.
No, I know. You know what? And this is the point I was trying to make before. What I thought will happen is that Downey will get people talking, right? And he already has gotten people talking. And everyone, whether you love the choice or hate the choice, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that refuse to see the movie because he's cast as Doom. I think the quite opposite. Even people are like, I hate this choice, but I want to see what he's going to do. And so that alone could be, as you said before, Coy, I thought very well, that could be the decision to get people to spend money. And if you're getting people to spend money, right choice. If you're trying, now we don't know because we haven't seen the movie yet, if it turns out that you can't separate it and it just looks like Dr. Doom with sunglasses on, then it creatively was the wrong choice.
In 24 hours, that reveal became the number in the top 15 Instagram videos of all time.
Right.
It is clearly the biggest thing since, you know, phase 3 ended. So it's working. I just really, for the sake of, we just love this stuff. And all of this concern is coming from a place of love. It's just the sanctity of the character. It's the integrity of the universe. I cannot wait to be proven wrong. And if there's anyone that could do it, it's this team, because I think Winter Soldier going into Civil War, going into Infinity War and Endgame blew my mind. So I'll be there day one with bells on. I just wouldn't be fair to my comic love and heart to say I'm not worried, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited. I can be worried and excited. I contain multitudes.
Well, speaking of excited, Winston, how excited were you about the stuff that you heard or even saw from Fantastic Four that they mentioned?
I see, that's the thing. I'm still just not a big Fantastic Four fan. Okay. So like, I was excited in the sense that for all the people that want to like crap on Pedro Pascal as like as a casting choice, I think that he's a fantastic one because we've seen the range that he can play. So, and did y'all see how much Vanessa Kirby was just up and down and paid the holding hand? I was like,
Mr. Fantastic.
I literally was, so this is a very believable. They are in love. She is in love with this nerd. So just already that chemistry got me hyped to see in the
on the less Randy side. He's super anxious, and them holding hands to keep him calm made me that was my moment. So he doesn't like being on stage, and like she was holding his arm, and I was like, that's Sue Storm.
Do you think there's do you think there's a world that they were method acting inside of that?
There's a possibility.
I'm sure they played it up. I just think that his anxiety being calmed by Sue Storm is very sweet.
Well, the reason I asked that is because they were moments away from starting shooting.
Yeah. They could be in the zone. Like I just, sorry, you were saying?
No. I'm on the same page. I could very much see it as a world where they have already been maybe running, like starting shooting typically means we're actually hitting record and calling action.
There's previs. They've shot previs footage. They played it.
They've done rehearsals, I'm sure. They've run lines together. So this is all stuff that they're already developing that connection, which is why I truly believe that Vanessa was like, damn,
smartest man on earth.
So like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It very well could just be they're playing into it, but I genuinely felt the chemistry is already there. So to me, that was the biggest takeaway. that I got from the Fantastic Four stuff was to see that chemistry already go, and you could see it between all of them, but specifically those two, I was like,
well, Coy.
oh.
So Coy, you're a little bit more of the Fantastic Four fan, and you were looking at it. And what did you love the most about it, and why was it the flying car?
So retrofuturism is my jam. So yeah, that was definitely an element. I had a panel at the time of the Fantastic Four stuff, so I wasn't physically in there. I was with Hellboy, which I am so excited to talk about.
Hellboy was going up against Fantastic Four. What are they thinking?
Dude, and not only did we go up against Fantastic Four, but we filled our room, and it was the fourth biggest room at Comic-Con.
That's great.
With Hellboy opposite Marvel. I was so proud of that.
That's great.
And also Capes and Cowls fans in the room cheering at the end and letting themselves be known.
Nice.
Love you.
Good.
But I was really excited by the Galactus. I've only seen a still. I've only seen a single still, but mixing the retrofuturism of the buildings, the Galactus imagery, the car, all of the production design elements, I'm actually more excited about than the actual cast, because I think Eben Moss-Bachrach is the only one of the four that is I would have cast him.
Yes.
The other three I would not cast. I just wouldn't have picked them, kind of like Downey Jr. Like, they're all very talented, but if I was casting, that wouldn't have been my top five. So I'm really excited to see why and how and get the vibe. But the production design is already selling me, because that is how I would have designed it. I love the idea of a 4:3 ratio. It looks like at least some of the film is going to be shot in 4:3, which is the old TV ratio. Which they used in the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, the same director, Matt Shakman. So the choices have me really excited, because that's all we know. This is previs. They haven't shot the actual movie yet. They've shot footage to show, but I'm really excited from that stuff.
Yeah, me too. So I am pretty excited to see what they're going to do with Fantastic Four, and it looks like they're really, with Doom being the announced villain, obviously, and that how much focus they put it as the third movie that they're showcasing. I think it comes out before Thunderbolts, if I'm not mistaken. I think that comes out first and then Thunderbolts, but I think so.
February Cap, July is Fantastic Four. I believe May is Thunderbolts.
Okay. So they did it in sequence. But I think it really popped, and I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. I want to hear it, and before we move on, I want to tell you guys, I've been telling you about Cremo Body Wash all week, and I've been telling you about Rocket Money for months, almost years now. So I'll tell you about both of them. Here we go. I got to tell you about Cremo. That's right, man. So, and I think you guys also have, last week when I was telling you guys about them, I got so many people, I can't even tell you how many people that said, yeah, I use Cremo. I use it so many times. I've been using Cremo, and before you even told me about it, Harloff, I knew it. Because for me, after working in the studio all day, I want to go home, and I smell like an alley cat. I want to go home and take a shower and relax. So I love going out on the weekends, but sometimes my friends, they want to visit some really nice places. It means I want to smell nice. My wife and I would go out. I'm like, you don't want to, like I said, she want to go with like a mountain lion who's been sleeping in garbage. She wants to go with someone smelling nice. And that's where Cremo comes in. So you want to elevate and you want to enhance your hygiene routine with Cremo Body Wash. It combines a rich, lathering, and hydrating formula with meticulously balanced, multi-layered fragrances for a superior shower experience. So I used it, we were working in the studio here really late. And so I was like, okay, I used it, felt great right away. So Cremo works with master perfumers to make sure that every body wash scent is blended and refined, and their hard work definitely shows. Every wash that I've tried smells like it's like really high-end cologne. So I really dig it. I like the new bourbon vanilla men's body wash, which I've been using. It's really good. Yeah, it's really, really good. So, it gets me clean and it relaxes me after a long day. So check it out. You got to stop wasting money. That's what I said to myself. And I said it to myself many times over, because I've had these apps, I've looked at these apps, and we've all done it, looking at the app going, oh, that's going to be fun. Oh, yeah, I'll cancel it when it's time. And I forget to. And I got billed for this, I got billed for this, I got billed for this. Like, oh, no. Well, Rocket Money is a personal finance app, and it tells you about unwanted subscriptions. It tells you it'll cancel the unwanted subscriptions for you, but it does so much more. It does things, whether it's managing and saying, hey, you spent this much money this month as compared to this month. You can do this, this, and this. You have bills coming up. You have all this. Every day I get notifications from Rocket Money. Every day I'm looking, it has helped me organize in ways that I never thought I'd be able to, and I love it. So if you go to rocketmoney.com/thing, it will change your life. You'll love it. Rocket Money is so great. It has over 5 million users and it has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions. It saves members up to $740 a year when using all the app's features. So you got to stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You can cancel your unwanted subscription. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing. That's rocketmoney.com/thing. rocketmoney.com/thing. Thank you to Cremo Body Wash. Thank you to Rocket Money. As I say, if you want to help out the show and you want to help yourselves, get yourselves one of our wonderful sponsors. If you're not already using Rocket Money, and there's only so much I can tell you, but I love them. I love them so much, and I wish you could be in the room with me because they smell wonderful because of Cremo Body Wash. But anyway,
which one are you using?
You know, it's the bourbon vanilla one was the one that I've
Yes.
been using. That's the one that I've been using, and it smells nice, clean ones.
Real clean,
Yeah.
like so fresh and so clean.
Yes, so fresh. And so what was so fresh and so clean was the way they put that panel together, that Hall H panel, what Marvel did, and that they open up with Captain America. And we say it here every week, and especially after the success of Deadpool Wolverine, we knew it was going to hit, and we can briefly talk about Deadpool Wolverine, and it'll lead into Captain America. Deadpool and Wolverine has made all of the money. It has at this point, I think when we recorded this, it has already made 525 million worldwide. By the time this airs, it'll probably be at 600. By the time the weekend's over, it'll probably be at 1 billion. It'll be close. The movie is a smash hit, like we knew that it would. It's breaking tons of records. We've talked about the records all week, about the R-rated movies and all these. It's a blockbuster. It's a phenomenon. So now going into this panel again, Captain America has a lot of pressure on it. It's got a lot of pressure on it because Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 was a movie that made a lot of money, and I said this, and someone challenged me on it, and I'm going to double down on it. It's not a continuing MCU movie. It's the third movie of the Guardians franchise. For this phase of what they're doing with the MCU, it has nothing to do with anything. It's
Adam Warlock.
Where is he?
I mean,
we
haven't gotten to it yet, but you don't introduce
Has he
Adam
happened?
Warlock as significant as a character.
You
as he
can say
is.
the same thing about Harry Styles. My question is, have you seen Warlock since? Have you seen Shang-Chi yet? No.
How many movies have been since?
I'm just telling you, you haven't seen him. So I don't care. You could make the argument later on, but right now, the argument I'm making is it has nothing to do with anything, but it's a great movie. It's a great movie, but it has nothing to do with anything. Deadpool and Wolverine has a lot to do with the multiverse and things that are pushing forward. So the question will be how this pertains at all. And and Captain America is what was the next movie after Guardians 3 though, by release? Was it the Marvels?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was the Marvels.
Right. So that didn't do them any favors, right? So they went right from up here and then right to the ground.
I think it was wasn't it Ant-Man, Guardians, Marvels? I think that's when we started going like, it's a conversation.
That was the roller coaster because even before that, it was Multiverse of Madness,
all the money,
and then
dip Quantumania, all the money Guardians, dip.
Right.
Because even Multiverse, even though it made the money,
wasn't beloved.
It was very on the fence for folks.
Right. Our conversations were, hyper positive.
So I mean, yes, you have a lot of characters post-credit scenes that have been introduced that have not been answered, and a lot of that has been because there has been whatever said disjointedness. So we gotta answer these questions. We gotta understand why Harry Styles show up, why Charlize Theron showed up, why, there's a lot to get to.
But the question is, what will Captain America do? Because Captain America needs to not do what the Marvels did. Captain America needs to be, because they haven't had a punch in a while. They need Captain America to land, and by reshooting the whole movie and taking a loss, because they're probably going to take a loss or they break even with they essentially shot 2 movies, which is fine. If it's a great movie, then it's worth it because it's going to get you punch, lead you into the Thunderbolts. And Harrison Ford looks like he's having a blast. He's hulking up on stage. He's screaming and yelling. And I think that I really enjoyed the trailer. So, Winston, from what you saw, you think that Captain America is going to deliver?
I gotta believe so. I think that in the same way that you could tell James Gunn is taking a lot of care with Superman, everybody's very aware that if you want to keep your job and keep doing this right now, you're out of mistakes. This is a situation where it's like, damn, we're down in like the third quarter, almost to the fourth quarter. Ain't gonna be no extra time here.
Yeah, you feel the pressure on these.
Every defensive stop, every score, you have to do it. And you can tell with the energy that obviously Ryan, Hugh, and Sean had their own heart and soul they wanted to put in the love letter they wanted to give to the end of the Fox universe. But it's clear that Feige wanted them to cook, but made it sure we got to make sure this is connecting dots and things are coming up. Like, we're still not really talking. So the spoiler thing was that one, right? So
yeah, not yet. But I mean, you got to change the narrative, though. You got to change the narrative.
There's a moment in Act 1 that comes up that very clearly is still going to be relevant in a little bit. In the TVA, I won't say more than that, but people that know what I'm talking about. Feige made it very clear to leave breadcrumbs of things that we're going to need to address later on.
Right.
So make the best movie you can. Let's also make sure this connects. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Captain America. Make the absolute best movie you can, but we need to usher in this new age, especially with, even though you haven't heard of Harrison Ford in the Thunderbolts, there's no way in a world where he is now playing the president and the Red Hulk
and not show up.
He's not showing up.
Well, that's what's smart about it. That's why by putting Captain America, and if Captain America does hit, the strategy, Coy, is there. If it hits, if it's a big hit and Harrison Ford's character hits and then he shows up in Thunderbolts and then you can establish how the Thunderbolts are going to work out, then that leads into boom, boom, leading into then Fantastic Four. This seems to be that their strategy is more reminiscent of how they used to do it. Am I off in saying that?
No, and I also think it's really smart that if you look at the map, it's every July from here on out is bananas for Marvel. We have a Fantastic Four. The next year we have a Doomsday. The next year we have Secret War. So I think they're really only focusing on those. Mm-hmm. I do think there's going to be an announcement of something between Doomsday and Secret War, maybe two things, but I think it's really smart to focus on the hits right now. And we keep, I mean, I've made this example a few times, like, play the hits, but right now you can do a little bit of remix, you can play in one new song or two in the hits, but I think it's smart to focus on their set list, keep it tight, keep the morale high, because people don't want to lose their job. And I do think the goodwill of Deadpool is going to be a lot more beneficial to Captain America than some of the other goodwill that's kind of, it hasn't felt like this in a while. Like, yeah. I haven't seen Marvel have this many giant wins. Like, look at all of our pages. We're really excited to talk about Deadpool. We're really excited to talk about Doom. However we feel about it, we're excited to talk about it. And that feels really good. Just the excitement around the brand Marvel, it's working. Like, I think they're doing the right things.
Well, right. And that's why they need this win with Captain America, because they could easily...
We want to keep this momentum of it's working.
If it hits, then it's working again. If it misses, they take another loss and they got to build back up, and that leads to Thunderbolts. It puts more stress on Thunderbolts, because out of the ones that I saw, I still want to see the Thunderbolts, but I was the least excited for all of them. It was the most exciting was when the announcement of the Avengers, Downey coming back. As far as the movies go, for me, it is the Fantastic Four, and then it would go Captain America, and then it goes Thunderbolts. It's not to say that's how I'm going to enjoy them in that order, but that's the one. But Thunderbolts, is there anything that stood out about from what I heard, the people in the room said that it had kind of a darker tone, which is something I'm excited about if they make that work. But was there anything, Winston, that stood out about the news that you heard about that you were like, yeah, oh man, I'm more excited than I was before? Not really.
Off the top of my head, no. I did find I again covered this on Blurred Breakdown, but just the idea of Bucky having a new purpose. It was talked about that I guess he's going to be a congressman in this. So like, I'm very curious to see what civilian Bucky has to do to tap back into Winter Soldier Bucky. Like, where does this kind of go? Is he on like some sort of like how in Congress they have what, like the security?
I imagine he's defending superhero rights. Like, he's probably the representative of soups of some kind.
Yeah, or some sort of rehabilitation. Like, I can even see him being the de facto leader of the squad initially, both as a congressman, but also, look, I was an international terrorist, but like now here I am back.
Reform is possible.
Reform is possible, so we can reform all these people, and I could see that being maybe a storyline that they go with, and him trying to prove that. So like, to me, I think that's kind of an interesting angle to go at. But other than that, until we get more, until we get a trailer or something, I can only get so excited.
Fair. Okay, I think that's the majority of stuff when it came to the panel, unless I was forgetting something, guys.
My big excitement is that we confirmed that the Celestials are adamantium.
Oh, right.
I know that's a little silly to be this excited about.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
they did in the Thunder. That was in Captain America. They brought that up.
Yeah. Brave New World. They're fighting around the Celestial. One, finally, as an Eternals fan, diehard. Two, they confirmed it's adamantium, so we're one step closer.
Yeah,
that's a highlight for me.
It was. What's that?
Because I was going back, and like I thought the original thing with adamantium was just that, is they were the only thing that X-Men Origins Wolverine got right was that they were trying to reproduce vibranium and ultimately made adamantium in that process.
There've been a few different origins to adamantium. Yeah. It's just it needs to be rare, and I like the idea of it being rare because it's not of this earth. So I think it kind of mirrors vibranium because they're both from asteroids, right? Like, well, one's an asteroid, one's a sentient creature from space. But I like that they're both jettisoned from space.
No, I get that, and almost to the point where Cersei accidentally did that,
right?
Since she transmutated the Celestial into
so it kind of works narratively in the same way.
Well, at least in that and that's
Eternals work
and then it plays, and then you can ask my question before, how does that play into it? Well, that's one of the ways it plays into it. Okay, so that's the majority of the stuff I think that was covered in Marvel in those big panels, and I want to hear your thoughts on what you guys think overall. There was some stuff that came out that we covered this past week, and we can kind of get into Agatha and all that. They basically just said that Agatha was going to be like a Goonies thing. Mike and I covered that, so I don't really want to get so much into that. But what I do want to talk about more so is the Superman stuff. Superman has wrapped. It is done deal. And not only we're going to talk about all the DC stuff right now, because I want to talk about, obviously, Superman. And then there was another image here of the Joker, which I love. I love this image so much. Like chaos about to ensue. I am so excited for this movie. I can't even tell you. But those two images, and then the third thing was the Penguin trailer, which I don't have an image of at the moment. But those three things I want to kind of break down and give DC their due at the moment, because I think that they've got a few wins here. And the first is, let's talk about Superman wrapping. Now, this is a major, major milestone. It really is. It's the first DCU movie to wrap under James Gunn. I think if you're a DC fan, you should be excited. There wasn't a lot of, they said when they were going to start filming. They did it. They did it in the time they said they were going to. There'll be some reshoots. That's okay. That's normal. But they did it. They're going to get it out at the right time. They're going head to head really with Fantastic Four also. And they're confident about it. They seem psyched up. Doesn't seem to be a lot of negatives so far, because we're talking about with Captain America. Captain America has a little bit more of a blanket, because even if or Marvel rather has a blanket. If Captain America bombs, they can still say, well, let's try the Thunderbolts. And if the Thunderbolts bombs, they still got Fantastic Four and they still got Downey. Superman cannot bomb. It has to succeed. And Coy, you hear this, that they're wrapped. They're done. How are you feeling about this production thus far and how it's going?
Elated.
Yeah.
Not only did they take their time to make this movie, not only did they make everything very transparent, not only did James Gunn come out and say like lie, truth, I misled you, but it also has a year in post-production. I am very excited for Fantastic Four, but the fact that Superman wrapped the day before Fantastic Four started and they're both due out 2 weeks apart from each other is insane. Now, I know you can do a lot of previs at Marvel. I know they have previs because we've seen some of it at Hall H, or they've seen some of it. I wasn't there. But I know that there is previs that exists, so clearly they've mapped this out. And I know Marvel does, so much of their movie before they ever shoot their movie. But the idea that Superman is done the day before Fantastic Four starts and they're out within 2 weeks is just crazy. So I just love the confidence, right? Like now you've had a nice, slow and steady production, one of the longest productions of James Gunn's career, one of the longest productions of a superhero film. And you've got the time to actually button it up in post and then release it. I think this is great. I think it's confident. I think it needs to be, because as you said, this is like they don't get to mess up. But it's also really great because now the movie comes out in July. They can put out a teaser in December and it just be a teaser and be confident. They can then reasonably put out a first trailer in the spring and they can be confident. I like that they can be slow and steady with this. I want a nice slow trickle. And in the meantime, Batman Caped Crusader dropped yesterday. Kite Man dropped last month. The Penguin's out in September.
The Commandos trailer.
So much. Cobra Commandos is, Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
I'm like Cobra Kai. Creature Commandos is out in December. You have a steady, slow drip of DC awesome. Obviously, Joker, which you're excited for. It's not like DC's hurting while they wait. They just have a nice build up, and you can release Superman the way you should. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So Winston, I want to get your same thoughts on that question, but I want you to start with this. And I think I know your answer, but then I'm going to let Coy think about it too. I'm only giving you enough money to see one movie, Fantastic Four or Superman. What theater are you going into?
Superman.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's
even though Fantastic Four has so much to do with Avengers and everything else too, moving forward, and Doom and all that.
Sure, but I think there's enough of an established universe and storyline that if Reed Richards just shows up, I saw him in Multiverse of Madness. I know he exists somewhere, so I'll get over it. I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like versus we're talking about here. Literally, this is make or break.
Mm-hmm.
You either you do or die here. There is no other runway. Especially if you take it outside, and we've talked about this a lot, if you take it outside of just the idea of trying to start a new story, Warner Brothers right now, and especially with DC, but Warner Brothers right now is in a very similar position that Marvel was in when they did Iron Man.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy had already hit. They had sold off the rights to multiple stuff because they could not maintain. And so it's like, we're taking a shot.
Mm-hmm.
If we pull this off,
right,
you end up where we are now, where you ended up with the highest grossing franchise of movies of all time. But if you screw it up, Marvel just may stop existing as an anything.
Right.
And you brought in Downey Jr. and Favreau and Howard, and you made it work. And it was literally the movie that launched 1,000 ships type situation. We used to talk about Helena Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. This is the same
Downey's
scenario.
face.
If you look at the state that Warner Brothers is in, and even the rumors that Warner Brothers and Discovery may split because it's so bad right now that they will actually might try and go opposite directions, this ain't a game. This is like real life that we could see a major studio crumble. So it's
the gravity behind it that gets you excited, and you want because you're a comic book fan, you want it to work. Totally. So Coy, same question though. You only have enough money to go into one movie. What are you choosing?
I'm going to up your already impossibly high stakes. Of everything we know coming out from the big two, of everything WB and DC, the only thing that I would have chosen over Superman of the slate was Deadpool.
Right.
Deadpool's out. It literally next is Superman, The Batman 2, Secret Wars, Supergirl.
That's your list.
Doomsday.
That's your list.
The rest. Yeah. Okay. Like Superman is so high above.
Okay.
Superman, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I forgot about my baby boy.
Yeah. And then whatever you said.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
What he said. My silver medal was corrected.
Sure.
Beyond the Spider-Verse. But it's Superman above the rest, beyond Batman 2 for me.
Right.
And then Secret Wars. And then, but like, I'm so excited for Superman. Just narratively, it's James Gunn.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited to see a universe launch. Like everything you said, plus like you had the business side. On the story side, it's James Gunn, and I love the cast, and I love that I think James Gunn sees Superman as I do. And we're living in an age where the dude from Saltburn, I bring this up all the time, but the dude from Saltburn said he didn't want to play Superman or even go out for it because the character was too dark. Superman has been so irreparably broken for an entire generation. This isn't just a Superman movie. It's cleaning up a character. It's fixing an archetype. It's not just a movie. It's an important thing to occur.
Well, his post James Gunn's post has probably even made you more excited because he said we set out to make a movie about a good dude, and that's really what they're trying to do here.
We need, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing too, is that I love The Boys. I absolutely love it. I really enjoy House of the Dragon. I'm realizing that we have got to get some form of positivity into media right now, because we as a society are in a very dark place.
Doesn't do well. I mean, Ted Lasso ended. People didn't love the last season, and then like Shrinking's coming back, which I'm excited about. That's pretty positive.
That's
about
the
how
question.
few positive versus negative.
Yeah,
it's like 1 to 10.
It's Abbott Elementary and no other sitcoms.
Right. It's the ratio. So I think Superman is going to be that.
Look at the era of when Star Wars came out. Right. Star Wars came out in 1977, and the biggest movie before that was like Chinatown. You're living. You were in.
Where was Godfather? Like not far off.
It was around
right?
the same area, but also a good example. Like you're looking at the movies that were coming out right around the time again, Vietnam War had just ended, and all these things. It was a very, very down time when people were going to see movies. So a very uplifting movie changed it up. And it's not to say there's no uplifting movies. There certainly are, but an uplifting hero. It would be nice to have that Boy Scout again. But the question is, as Coy mentioned, will audiences accept it? And I think that when it comes to James Gunn, the only thing that I always get concerned with James Gunn, as funny as I find him, is will the humor overpower some scenes sometimes? And he does that sometimes. But I thought he hit a very good emotional core with Guardians 3. It's my favorite Guardians out of the three of them. I think he's playing. I think he's at the top of his game right now, James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Peacemaker, with the Suicide Squad, I think he's at the top of his game, and he knows he's got something to prove here. So I think this is a James Gunn I want at the helm. But the other question I have is the same question we've had about Feige many times over: is he doing too much? Because Feige doesn't direct.
Right.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he has overextended himself. But he also, on the upside, he's only directing this, right?
He's directing like 2 episodes of Peacemaker, not all of it.
But the show running / directing 2 episodes of Peacemaker.
But he's hired, obviously. Supergirl's got Craig Gillespie,
Right.
and what's his name? James Mangold's got Swamp Thing. The people he's hired, I think he trusts.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be outsourcing after Superman in a really trustful way where he can just oversee.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I would say, Kristian, to what you said, that there are some positive things out there for sure. I think the only truly like positive nucleus, and even then you could make the argument that people still made a fuss about it, that we've seen be at center stage for a movie or a TV show like this, would be like Barbie last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everything else we loved Across the Spider-Verse, right? But it still is a pretty dark story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then this is a situation where he's going to have to fight evil, but a good person doing good things and inspiring hope being on center stage for the world to pay attention to. I think we really need something like that.
We have so much inspirational content that does pretty well, but aspirational is rare. And that's why I think Ted Lasso is what it was. It was a phenomenon because it found the line. And I think if Superman can do that, I love your Star Wars example. If Superman can do that, I want the 80s back, man. Give me shoulder blades, shoulder pads, and lots of snowman building.
We'll see. All right, listen. So put your comments in there. What do you think about Superman? Do you think that it's going to hit? Are you excited about it? Everything that you've heard thus far, put your comments in there. Tell me exactly what you're thinking. Before we get to more of the DC stuff, I want to touch upon both. I want to talk about the Penguin. I want to talk a little bit more about the Joker. I want to talk about the Commandos. And then I want to talk about the Umbrella Academy, which is not DC, I know, but I want to talk about that also. But before we do that, I want to tell you about 2 more of our sponsors, tell you about both Raid Shadow Legends and, of course, BetterHelp. Here you go. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about one of our sponsors today. That's Raid Shadow Legends. You've been watching this channel long enough. You've heard it's one of the only mobile RPG games that I have played. And I'm not alone. There's over 4 million users that are playing Raid Shadow Legends. It's got over 250 million downloads. It's cool because it has over 850 playable champions. It's got 16 factions to choose from. It's got over 30 bosses to take down. It's got millions and millions of builds that you can work with. So this is a game that you are not going to be bored playing. It's got monthly content updates. It's fully cross-platformed. You can play it with everybody. So do me a favor, click on the link in the description and you will see why this is one of the most downloaded RPGs and why so many people are playing it. Go and give it a shot. What's great is the second you sign up, they give you a starter pack and they give you a champion, Big Elf, Big Ears, Tyrell. He's pretty awesome. Tyrell is highly regarded as one of the big players. He's got a lot of different things that come in. All Raid players talk about how incredible he is with the arsenal that he comes with. When you reach level 25, you get another starter pack. So come join me. You can join the Clan Harloff. when you sign up with Raid Shadow Legends. This isn't a silly game. This isn't a stupid game. This is a fun game. This is a game that you guys know me. It takes me a while to like, oh, am I interested? And I'm interested. I talked about this a while ago, and I'm still talking about it now. So check it out. Its link is in the description. Episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I want to ask you guys, what are your self-care non-negotiables? What is it? You don't skip leg day or therapy day? Well, when your schedule's packed with whether it's kids' activities, big work projects, and more, something I can certainly relate to, it is easy to let your priorities slip. I was just having a conversation about this. I've talked about this many times over. Roxy Schreier, people in my family, have been working with BetterHelp. And if you've been watching my show long enough, you know Roxy just swears by it. So beneficial of how it works for her schedule. If you've ever thought about trying therapy, you should really give BetterHelp a try because it's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it is suited to your schedule. Simple. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, you switch therapists anytime, there's no additional charge. So never skip a therapy day with BetterHelp. All you got to do, you visit betterhelp.com/bigthing today, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's 10% off by going to BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. All right, thank you to both of our sponsors, both Raid and BetterHelp. Make sure you once again check the description, hit those links. Thanks for joining us, and we're so excited that we have them on board. So, okay, so moving on, and I want to show this image again because I love it oh so much. This is another image that was released from the Joker 2 trailer. Now, this was a movie that broke a lot of records when it came out as a rated R comic book film. You've got another rated R comic book film that came out this year that's already breaking tons of records. Does this movie now have an opportunity to make $1 billion? With the success of Deadpool as a rated R movie, it shows you can get people, because that was always the argument. The movie can't make $1 billion, it's rated R. Well, that has been thrown out the window a few different times. Twice. Yeah. So now
it's gonna beat Jesus.
I know it already did, right? Deadpool just beat Passion of the Christ.
Marvel Jesus has beat their other fictional Jesus.
That's hilarious. So now what happens with this movie is because the rated R movie came out, did well. This movie is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. The last 2 trailers have been fantastic. I don't know. Coy, what do you think? Is this going to be a major hit?
I think the biggest struggle it's going to have is people concerned about the musical element. I think that it's going to take word of mouth. I think people are going to be excited. People that are going to see it are already going to see it. I think there's going to be some people waiting for the word of mouth about the musical elements. I think that's the only thing that might keep you a little at a distance. Also, the first movie cost like nothing and made all the money. So right. I don't know how much they have to make on this one. But I do think Deadpool's going to help it because I think people are now hungry for that genre. Deadpool 1 kind of changed everything because then Logan was rated R, which was awesome. And then Deadpool 2 rated R. And then that all led to, Joker was exceptional in what it did with an R rating. But now it feels like it's not as big of a fluke. It feels like Marvel embraced it. It feels like we're making moves towards it being its own little category within superhero films as a medium and a genre. So I think Joker's in a good spot because we are not children anymore. A lot of us have grown up with this and we are now old enough to want these things. So I think Joker's in a good spot, but I think the musical element's going to be a little asterisk.
And Winston, what do you think about that picture? Did you like that picture as much as I did?
I mean, that's a very dope picture, and like they said, what a picture can, what is it? Says 1,000 words. Yeah. It's worth 1,000 words. Like you are already getting the tone of where Arthur is. Again, you can already see the "I love you, Ted Bundy" in Gaga's like Harley. Like there's just a lot of things already kind of set up to really be like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And I think especially with the fascination we got even more so during the pandemic with obscure characters, docuseries, like cult stuff, all that. This is what you're taking the natural. Clearly the first Joker was setting up the cult of Joker, and it going to the next level. It feels like a very interesting story to watch. Is it going to hit $1 billion? I definitely think it has the potential to do so. And we've seen that on average, we're getting roughly about $1 to $2 billion movies a year. So this sounds like number 2.
No, we already had one.
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Oh, Inside Out already did it, so this will be number 3.
This will be number 3. So I think that the question is, going to be, it's in the same way that Deadpool has no competition until Alien Romulus. What competition will Joker really have at that time? I don't know. And if it's good and people are, it's the difference between Deadpool and this movie. And again, I haven't seen it, but just on tone is rewatchability, right? Where Deadpool and
Deadpool's a party.
It's a party. This is
so you want to go back to that party, whereas Joker,
you can come.
I love the first one. I've been talking about it a lot, but I didn't go like I need that again right now. I went like I need to shake off this feeling. I feel scuzzy. Like I needed a shower, not a rewatch.
But the funny thing is the number of people that did. Because that's why it hit $1 billion in the first place.
I mean, I saw it again. It's not like Deadpool where it's like a
rush back
rotating
and see it the next day, right?
But there were some people that were just from the fact of like floor is crazy. Go Joaquin, oh my God! Like
those people aren't gonna love Superman. And that's also a point, right? Like I think DC's doing a really cool thing where they got some counter programming. Like Joker is for people that love superhero films, but also don't love superhero films. Superman is going to be very, I think, campy and fun and got that like old school comic feel to it. Whereas Joker is, it's taken a lot from Scorsese and 70s films. So I think Joker has a really big asset in that it allows people to feel that blockbuster impact. It allows people to feel like they're part of the conversation, even if they don't like the genre of superhero film. So I think that might be part of its asset. But again, the singing element might throw off the same people that wanted that.
They haven't been leaning into that as much in the last trailer.
Very carefully. At CinemaCon, he was like, "It's got music as a character," and I was like, "You're singing in the trailer."
They haven't shown it really at all in the trailers, and I think it's going to be way more in the actual movie, which I think is very smart, by the way, because they haven't. There was one movie. What the hell movie was it where they didn't portray
Mean Girls?
No, there was a movie they didn't portray.
Mean Girls didn't even say it.
No, Mean Girls was one. Like most people that were paying attention were like, "Oh, they're doing the musical as a movie."
The people that wandered
in. A lot of people went in, being like, "Wait," because she was in the classroom, and that's when the first song starts, and everyone goes, "Wait, what?" Like,
it was. I think it was Wonka also, where they didn't.
Oh yeah, very much musical. Didn't advertise.
They didn't advertise
Wicked is a part 1 of 2, and it's a musical, and they're not advertising. Like Wicked is so funny to me because it looks like one movie that's a drama.
Yeah,
like. It's musical.
You know what's interesting though? It's from the standpoint of like obviously the people that love musicals, but like the musical really has become a 4-letter word for a lot of advertisers where they don't hide that. I think just like in the same way.
I understand why they're hiding it because it's not.
But then you're going to run the risk of pissing people off.
Didn't piss people off with Wonka.
Then people are going to talk about it. Then it's going to get word of mouth.
Wonka.
Right now, antagonism is the best way to get.
Wonka made a lot of money.
What were the last 3 musicals? It was Mean Girls, Wonka.
I'm sure there's something else.
I'm sure there's something.
But I don't know how much. But here's the thing though with this movie is that how much of it is an actual like pure definition of what a musical is, because what they're going to incorporate is how much is going on inside of that crooked noggin of his.
But I do think they hired someone who masterfully played Johnny Cash and Lady Gaga.
Yes, exactly.
Like, obviously, he was in it first, but I think they'll be singing.
I definitely think they'll be singing. So Gaga definitely. Did you see that video? The one guy lost his mind because he wanted.
The trailer wasn't on it.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to see Lady Gaga. I'll call the cops.
It was of course in my city now. It was the guy, Winston. If you didn't see it, there was a guy at the ticket booth for Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, and he went to go see the trailer of Joker, and they didn't show it, and he lost his mind. He said, "There's 20 minutes of trailer."
It cut scene from the Joker.
Yeah, it really was.
It's one of the people the Joker inspires at the end of the first movie, going, "I need that." Like it was so life reflecting art about the art.
The conviction in the guy's voice when he said he was going to call the cops, like he was doing, he had the right to. He had the right to call the cops. He's like, I'll call the police. Sure you will. Yeah. Police came to my house this morning, guys. I set off. I had bacon, and I set off the smoke alarm. Both tried to cancel it in time. Both the police and fire. I told them, please don't send them. I don't want them to. There's other people that they could be helping, and not my stupid bacon ass. And that didn't happen. So just to let everybody know, little.
And then he showed him the Joker trailer.
And I showed him we sat down and we did a trailer reaction. I'll tell you what, I didn't do a trailer reaction to because I didn't want to see the trailer again. Because I'm already all in. I missed the time when it came out, and that was the Penguin again. And from what I heard, it was just more of the same in a good way, but it's a little more detailed. Did you guys see the new trailer?
I intentionally, and I will totally own the audience and be like, you have a show, blah, blah, blah. The first trailer, I got you, but I want to go in as fresh as possible.
Same. But
like,
from what everybody
guys got me
says,
for the first one, I want to see this thing.
The only reason I watched the Deadpool and Wolverine final trailer was because I was trying to monetize my damn channel, and I knew if I did a reaction, I would get some views. I didn't want to see it, and honestly, we didn't argue. We all agreed
that there
was a cameo hardcore ruined for that movie.
I want to talk about that. I'm gonna talk about that. And this is a spoiler for people who haven't seen the movie, but if you saw the last trailer, it's not. I'm giving you a warning here. You've been warned. Here we go. We're going to talk about it. Okay. I'm giving you a little more time to turn it off or pause it. Now you've been warned. Okay. The third trailer, they show Daphne Keene. And I think I love PJ Campbell more than anybody. PJ Campbell says something very silly on Twitter, which he does sometimes. And he was talking because Mike was complaining, which he does sometimes, about Daphne Keene being in the trailer. And then PJ ate the PR snacks that Disney gave him, and he said, "Oh, she wanted to go to the premiere. Who cares?" It's like, I care.
Why couldn't she have gone to the premiere anyway? The only people that would have been a problem, because that would have been like hey, I had a direct connection with Hugh Jackman. He invited me to come to the premiere,
hold
whatever.
On, real quick, watch your hands, Winston. You're going into his show.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, try do it again. Hold on, ready? Go ahead.
Okay, why wouldn't she be allowed to go to the premiere? You go as Hugh Jackman's guest because it's like, hey, we had a really the last time you played this character, it was me and you. So
and then it's a rumor that she's in it.
Exactly.
That is the narrative they're taking. The one PJ heard is what apparently they said, but you're right.
He did say that. Kevin Feige said those words. I read the article. He said those words, and I was like, Kevin Feige, how dare you? Because it's like, how dare you? It's like, well, she wanted to go, so we spoiled it for everybody. It's like, no. It's like what you could have done is you could have sent her to go. Here's your ticket. Please don't do any press interviews until afterwards.
She's also a member of Disney. She just finished The Acolyte. It's just because Simu Liu was not even remotely close to being in Wakanda Forever, and I met him on the purple carpet there for the premiere because they invite other people
and let people speculate. Let them speculate. So I
really didn't help her doing press for 2 days didn't help enough.
No.
Like it's not like because she had said they went to the Andrew Garfield School of Being a Werewolf and was like I was lying up until 2 days, but those 2 days didn't change enough that it would have been better. So I think they should have just said, "Hey, I'm friends with Hugh, and I just did the Acolyte."
Yeah, and just say, don't do any press right now. You afterwards, and they can talk to me like, you got us. It's like because it's what. And the other argument was, well, they wanted to try to get more people in the theater with the younger generation. At that point, when they showed that trailer, at the time they showed that trailer, the movie was already selling out in pre-sales and everything too. It was that to me. That was the most bummed I was because I would like to got that revealed differently. But
in movie was also they set it up as like there's three. Who's the fourth? It's not like she was a moment that was tossed aside. It was the most impactful,
huge. Anyway, but jumping back to Penguin because I really want to talk about this show. I am so psyched for this show. I can't tell you. I'm probably. I mean, I think that the three of us will cover this show on this channel for sure. I'm probably going to do full-on reactions to them. I'm so hyped for it. I'm torn with when I do reactions to them though because I'd have to do them here because I got this big TV here that and I'm watching them on my thing. Then I'm doing it in my home office. I did Acolyte and I did and what was the other one? I did a couple episodes of Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. I stopped doing House of Dragon on that because it ruins the experience for me. It's on a smaller computer. I love watching it on the big screen, and that's how I want to watch Penguin. I want to be so invested in it. I'm so excited for this show. I can't even tell you.
I would say this is up there with Loki season 2 after Loki season 1 blew me away. This is the highest of most anticipated. And that's saying a lot. Like Matt Reeves' Batman is my Batman. I love that movie. And Colin Farrell's been one of my favorite actors since I was like 6.
Easy.
So putting these two things together and like the way it looks, I went to the Iceberg Lounge at Comic-Con. And they literally rebuilt what it felt like to be in Matt Reeves' Batman universe. There was drops on the wall. There was like posters. The twins were there, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And all the symmetry and neon were like the circles. Like you felt like you were in the Iceberg Lounge and it was so authentic. And then a real fire broke out and a bunch of cops and EMTs came in.
Yes. Were you there?
And I was there.
Oh, wow.
Dude, and when they came in... I turned around and asked the bartender, I'm like, how long is this bit? Because they kept going. And then I was like, this is so immersive, but I really want my drink. And they were like, this hasn't happened yet. And then they turned the lights on and the cops were like, and I was like, oh, they're real cops. But I literally told a cop, this is so immersive. Because I was waiting for Batman to come out. I was waiting for literally anything.
And that's how Coy died.
Yeah, if you like see on the news like internet personality dies in iceberg lounge fire, kind of fitting.
But we tried to get him out. He just sat there in awe.
He was so happy to meet Penguin. He was looking for Batman.
They've been trying to cancel you for so long, and
that's what they is. They're like, we'll smoke him out. We will smoke him out.
So
well, and the opening of the thing is this woman comes to you right at the gate, and you see this beautiful, like all the sets behind her. She's like, and if you're lucky, you might get brought into a special room, which is obviously the Iceberg Lounge. But part of me was like, they're going for it. They're going pretty hard. And every single actual San Diego officer of help, I thought was an actor, a very good actor.
The only thing that would have been funnier is if Jeffrey Wright just happened to show up for something, and then you really fucking bought it.
The cast was the people in there before me, so it's statistically that could have occurred. Like it was within 5 minutes of me being like, "I am impressed, WB. You've done good work."
WB does those immersive things. I remember when Blade Runner was coming out, and they for Comic-Con one year, and they did this whole thing where you were in, and there were people walking around there that just were all dressed exactly how the runners were, and how it was awesome. It was awesome how they do that whole thing. But anyway,
the fire was a little too 4D. I didn't love it.
That's true. But anyway, the show itself, can't wait. Really excited for it. Now, I didn't see did you guys watch the trailer for Creature Commandos either?
No, since it was mid Comic-Con, I knew by the time I covered it, it wouldn't be. So I'm enjoying not knowing.
I do the same thing, and if it's something that I think that the audience was going to want us to talk about, we're going to have a big as far as reactions and all that, then I cover it right away. But if I miss it right when it first comes out, I want to see it when it comes out. Plus the fact I do want to see I can't remember who asked me this question. If Creature Commandos fails, is that it for DC? It's like no, not at all. It's like that's a thing.
It feels like an appetizer.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. Last thing to cover before we get out of here today, I want to bring up the Umbrella Academy because I had never seen this show before. I'd heard good things about it. No, I had never heard about it. I mean, I'd heard about it. I'd never seen it before. But as you guys know, I've been doing a lot of interviews, and there was an opportunity to interview David Castaneda, who plays Diego, on the show. And I said, yeah, you know what? Then I don't want to go in there never seeing the show. I'd like to talk to him about the upcoming. He's got season 4 coming out, so I want to talk about it. So I'm about 8 episodes into season 1. I'm hoping that I can get to at least midway season 2 before I do the interview. No way I'm going to finish it. I thought I would. The last night, I'm watching, and I like the show a lot. I'm going to start by saying that I like the show a lot. But I had gotten through three episodes last night, and then I fell asleep, and it had nothing to do with the show. I was just exhausted, and I woke up, I'm like, oh, I got to rewind this now because I was it was like there's nothing worse than falling asleep when you're locked in. It's like when you're not locked in and you're bored. It's like, yeah, I'm bored. It didn't put me to sleep. But when you're locked in and you fall asleep, you're just like, I have to stop watching this.
And piecing together where you left off.
Yeah,
like, what was reality?
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Like, what do I remember?
I gotta go back and watch a good 15 minutes of it. But I really enjoy this show. I really enjoy the show a lot. It's really, I didn't know anything about the comic book. I thought it was when the trailers came out. I think it was like 2019 or whatever it was, and I said, yeah, it's an X-Men thing. I like X-Men. I'll watch X-Men. It's nothing. It doesn't seem like the X-Men at all. Do you guys know this comic pretty well, Coy?
Yeah, Gerard Butler, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. It's his book.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, going from MCR to making this comic,
that makes a lot of sense.
What's that?
It makes a lot of sense.
It's right. It's a vibe. It's definitely like of a generation, of a type of person in that generation. Yep. And I love the first 2 seasons. I love the comic. I did fall off just because of time. I haven't seen the 3rd season. I loved the first 2. Robert Sheehan is one of my favorite actors working. He's like a young Irish dude. He's from Misfits. He's in the show. He reminds me terrifyingly of me.
What season is he in? Is he in the 2nd season?
No, he's in the 1st season. He's the brother that writes Hello Goodbye in his hands. I forget the character name right now because it's been 3 years. He's one of the main brothers. He's the dude that's like a carny.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Is that I think yeah. He's what's I can't. He's like really eccentric. He's Oh man, he's driving me nuts. Hold on a second.
I've dressed as him for Halloween before. I love that character.
Okay.
I just wore my Burning Man clothes. He's just me at Burning Man. But like the character is such an embodiment of the comic and Gerard Butler's like
Klaus.
Gerard Way's world and the way he
thought
sees.
you were saying the wrong name.
Yep.
I was like,
it just hit me. You know, good old Leonidas himself, Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
Not guys. I haven't slept in
Sorry.
like a week.
And the character's name is Klaus.
Klaus, thank you.
Yeah.
Klaus is one of my favorite characters of that type of TV show. Where
You know
it's
what's
like
funny about
a really
that, though?
fun adult adaptation.
When Klaus first hit the scene, I didn't like him. I didn't like him, and I was like, it's just like, we get it. He's the over the top, challenged brother out of all of them. And then he gets some serious development in season 1, and I like him a lot. I think that really like I'm glad that I'm interviewing Diego because I think that he's pretty solid character also. And I'll tell you, it's hilarious as a dad, and I'm going to bring this up to him when I talk to him. My favorite character actually is the kid, and the young kid who's basically, well, I don't want to ruin it for people. The youngest kid. He is from a show, Ricky, Dickie, Nikki, and Dawn or something like that. I think I actually got it right, Nickelodeon show, and my kids watch that show religiously, and I said, that's the kid from that show. and I knew it. Yeah.
He's also your daughter in male form.
100%. 100%.
I won't reveal why, but it is.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, I really enjoyed the show. I'm lucky. I wish I had another week to interview him so I could catch up and watch the whole show.
When are you taping that?
Well, tomorrow. This will be aired.
Really don't have time.
I mean, well, it's like later on in the day, but so I'm gonna try to get through as much as I can and see what I can do. I really would like to catch up to it, but and even if I asked, I wonder if I asked the talent bookers if I could push it, but I would just wonder in that time if that's, I don't know. We'll see.
It's an easy ask for another day or two. It's worth it because the show's.
I'm gonna ask and see. And if they have an issue with it, if he's not available, then I won't move it. But anyway, looking forward to it. I really like the show, and we have some big interviews coming up, and we have that Clips channel, so I hope that you guys subscribe to that. I am pretty close to monetizing that channel. If you guys will help me to monetize that channel, how? Get me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm almost there with the watch time. I just need to get 1,000 subscribers, and if you click on it,
that's crazy. Because for me, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just for me, the subscriber part was easy. The watch hours was hard. That's crazy.
Well, I had a clip that popped off. That there was a clip of Tony Robert Eiler talking about Tony Sirico that did very well. So that alone has given me enough of the watch time. But I hope that people will go over there and check that out. But I want to thank my co-host today for joining me. As always, we start with Mr. Winston A. Marshall. Winston, where can they find you?
You can find me all over the place at the Swaggy Blur, but especially on YouTube. I want to thank each and every one of you that so far has subscribed and come and checked out my content, man. I was able to finally monetize the channel. I'm super excited about it. I'm doing a show now that the aim is to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, just because of Comic-Con coverage and Deadpool coverage, and I was on set, which was super cool. I'll explain more about that a little bit later. You're getting a Tuesday, the Thursday episode came out, and then you'll get one later today. So please go and check all that out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Watch some stuff. Help put some pennies in my pocket. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on Capes and Cowls next week.
Coy?
I got my page at Coy Jandreau. I passed my goal. I wanted to hit 30K by Deadpool Day, and my next goal was to get more subscribers than I have on Twitter. So hopefully I use it more than Twitter because Twitter brings out the worst in me.
Agreed.
So I'm approaching my Twitter following. I'm 150 away from having as many followers on YouTube as Twitter. So please save me from myself, and I'll respond to comments because they're a little bit more civil, and I can't get away with things on there. So hunt me down in there. I just did all my Deadpool coverage. Like 50K views on my Deadpool reviews meant the world to me, and I'm doing all my breakdowns now, talking about who Cassandra Nova is, diving into all the San Diego announcements. We covered them here, but like a little bit more comic referencing and stuff. So if you want the comic element side, especially, head on over to my page. And thank you for everyone that's joined. It's meant a lot.
All right, guys. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Good news. Spotify, for those people who watch on Spotify, you can comment now on Spotify videos. So make sure if you're watching us on Spotify, throw some comments in there. It's going to help us get more people watching us on Spotify. All right, we'll be back here on Monday talking about we'll probably basically how close Deadpool is to making $1 billion. And that's it, man. So enjoy your weekends, everybody. We'll see you really soon. For Winston, myself, and Coy, bye-bye.